Um, Welcome back. It's DJ Ash Noble. Welcome back to another stream. Gonna be, I think we ramble in more streams, but this is gonna be a little bit of a rambly stream. And when I say rambling, I don't mean like rambling as in like, complaining about something. So if you've read the title right, um, we're gonna be I'm gonna be talking, sharing with you all sort of my favourite sets that I played at gigs this year. So, for those of you who may or may not know, I've said this in a couple of previous streams that 2024 has by far been my busiest year for gigging. We've had something like over 31 gigs, incredible, and I played in various different towns and cities and locations, even venturing up to Scotland, which has been absolutely mind blowing. Both times, might I add, to go to add to the experience. Um, so I thought we'd kind of talk about some of the favourite sets that I played this year, sort of at gigs. And I think what we'll do is we will try. I'll have to do a bit of thinking because I played a lot of gigs and there's been some good ones. There's been certainly some of the better ones definitely stand out. And what we'll do is we'll try and I'll try and sort of tell you what I think has been my favourite set that I played this year. And believe it or not, like I'm thinking in my mind now that I already kind of know what it is, and it's gonna surprise you. It's gonna surprise you, because you wouldn't think that the type of gig it was, and just compared to some of the other gigs and lineups I've been on, you wouldn't think that like the set that I think is for me the best set that I have played at a gig. And I don't just mean this year either. I mean like the best set that I played at a gig in like since gigging. Now, playing a set at a gig. So what I kind of rate this by is not just how good the set is in terms of like is the mixing on point, is that am I getting everything in time, am I beat matching to 100%, you know, that kind of thing. So what I'm judging this by is just in terms of like the vibe of the set. So for example, like did I have a busy crowd? Was there something that just makes the set sort of memorable and special? I'm not saying like here I mixed the best on the decks or I got tunes in time the best. It's more in terms of like just how I felt the set made me feel, and all that kind of thing. So, so I played, like I say, I played some really, really good sets this year, and I think we'll start with sort of like we'll start somewhere near the beginning of the year. Now I can't fully, in all honesty, remember like some of the really early gigs without looking back. But one of the early sets that I do remember that I enjoyed. Now this is by far not one of my favourite sets. There was a few issues during the set, but basically it was the first time I played for Chain Reaction, and I played a bouncy techno set B2B with Terry SLB, and the set itself, it went really well. To say that I don't normally play bouncy techno. Like I've mixed it a few times at home. I've mixed it the odd times. But like as opposed to playing it at a gig, like I've never played it in a club before until sort of January. And to say that was like, to say that was the case, and I played it in a club, like it went really well. and I had Marcus and Nats on. We had them on the set, and they were actually no, it wasn't Marcus. It was Space and Nats, but then Marcus did briefly jump on. I believe he did briefly jump on. So, but yeah, essentially, we had an absolutely like a really good setting in that sense, and like the crowd were up for it, and it was actually quite a busy event. They actually did really well. It was like a January Savers thing. And anyway, there was a few technical issues. The mixer had a few little issues with it. It was a little bit dodgy. I think there was something with one of the CDJs or something like that. But the mixer was like really just temperamental, and then all of a sudden it would make the music just go like far too loud, and then it would make like and then the next track would just be like far too quiet. There was just like there was something that had gone wrong inside the mixer. So that kind of let the set down a bit. And when we got to the event, there was like some technical issues, like setting the equipment up, and everything just got kind of like pushed back. So I was a little bit like, oh, not too pleased about that, unfortunately. Um, but apart from that, like I enjoyed the set. So we jump sort of into February, and I did a couple of went to Fusion nightclub, did a couple of Fusion Fridays and things like that. It was a steady away. It was the beginning of the year, sort of steady away, that kind of thing. But it was an enjoyable vibe. I had some good sets there. Nothing to really report on to say they were like absolutely belting. But they were all right as far as sets goes. They sounded good. I enjoyed the vibe. I enjoyed playing them, and I was obviously very grateful of the bookings. Now we move into March, and March is where we come to one of my favourite sets of 2024, and one of my favourite sets that I've ever played. So, March 2024, I made a debut by DJing for an event in Scotland called Crazy Chaos. Now, I live stream on their Facebook page on sometimes every week. Sometimes I get a little bit busy and I can't do it for a couple of weeks. But they put these charity events on, and they raise money for charity. And they use this nightclub called Base Nightclub in Scotland, and it's in a town called Oik, which is just on the Scottish borders. And I debuted up there, and the DJ booth is like high up, so you're like up on a balcony, essentially, almost kind of like it's like a DJ booth that's up high, and you look down on the dance floor. It's a really, really cool feeling, actually, to be up there and to look down on the dance floor. Really, really cool vibe. And we got to the event, and well, we stayed in a big castle place with a load of us and the other DJs. And I ain't gonna go into the journey there, because the journey there was actually something that I hope I never have to do again. It was horrible. I was in a car that just essentially kept overheating. I decided to invite my mum along with me, and basically she was just a pain in the ass. Like, I was telling her like 2 weeks prior, like, you've got to be ready because we've got to set off early, and then it came to the day and she wasn't ready. So that side of it was absolutely terrible. And like loads of them had gone up like the day before and they'd made like a weekend of it, and I just felt like I had real little time there. But we got to the club, and the club was absolutely dead. It was empty, and I thought, for a good while, I thought I've come up all this way, and like I'm just gonna literally play to nobody, which was why take your mum? Well, because my mum was, she's obviously proud of my achievements of DJing, and I was going quite far and a friend of my mum's who he offered to drive me because he likes coming to see me gig now and again. You know, and obviously like I couldn't just sort of take him and not take my mum. You know, we've had a lot of stuff going on family wise, and she hadn't actually been out to see me gig for a very, very long time. She wasn't able to for various reasons. So she wanted to come, and it was, you know, I'm going up to Scotland. It was quite a big thing for me, you know, going all that way up to do a gig. You know, and it was a big, exciting thing. So I brought her along for the journey, and you know, got her a room in this big castle place that we were staying. And I thought, you know, it'd do us all good to have a night away and stuff like that. So anyway, I get to the club, and there's not a soul in. You know, we all arrive and we set up, and there's not a soul in. Really, really empty. And literally, I'm thinking like I've come all this way, and you know we're not going to be here, really playing to anybody. And yeah, and then I go up to my like to the upstairs, like where the booth is, and where the booth is. Before you go into the booth, there's like a little upstairs room. It's like under construction, so it's like really about as rough as it comes. Like you really, in all fairness, like you really wouldn't want to have like a headliner just waiting in that room, because it really looks like dog shit, to be honest. Like the floorboards are missing. The room just looks like it's in the middle of a renovation that kind of just came to a halt. You can kind of see like all these like boiler tanks and stuff like that, and it just doesn't look like the nice place that you would want to really be in, if that makes sense. But you know, we're just waiting to go on, so I wasn't really too fussed. So I'm waiting there, and you can't see the club, you can't see the dance floor in this point. And then I go on to the decks, and I go on. The club is just rammed. The club is absolutely full to the brim. All of these people out of nowhere have just come, and I just played a really good set. I don't know if like just having this crowd there just like really changed the vibe for me. But it was absolutely fantastic. You know, it was everything that I wanted it to be. You know, and I just vibed it, and the crowd vibed it, and everybody was just absolutely loving it. They were just having an absolutely wicked time. And it just made it like, at the time, it was one of the best sets that I'd ever done. It was absolutely fantastic. It was just amazing. Really, really fantastic, and I loved every moment of it. And it's something that I'll cherish forever. You know, so big ups to Mark for getting me on, because you know, like it was one of the biggest crowds I'd ever played for at that point. As well, I think, you know, it had absolutely rammed. It was just amazing. It was really good. So we move on from that event, and I'm trying to think like after that, like I think I did a couple of Fusion Fridays again, and then sort of towards April, I had like March, April, late March, early April. I had a kids rave in Skegness. It was the first time I'd been introduced to doing a kids rave, and Lehman was like, you know, we need to plan like a clubland set for this, and that was a lot more stressful than I first thought. Whereas now, not too bad. I feel like, you know, a lot's changed this year for me. You know, even like just going back to March, like so much has changed. In that sense, like, you know, me as a DJ, me as a person, absolutely fantastic. So um, we did this kids rave, and the kids rave was really good. I enjoyed it. It wasn't, for me, it wasn't one of my favourite sets of the year. It came nowhere near close to what we'd just done in Scotland. However, when I was driving to that gig, well, when I was getting driven to that gig with the layman who was hosting me at that event and was also taking pictures, I got a text message from the owner of Fusion, and he was celebrating his birthday. He had an event on, he had Ultra Beat headlining, and basically he knew I was coming over the bridge, So he knew I was going to be sort of, at that side of the river. And he said basically, like, did I want to, like would I be interested in a DJ hasn't been able to turn up? Like, would I be interested in playing a set? And of course, I spoke with Lehman at the time, and we was like, yeah, we'd be up for, we'll play a set. Lehman will come down and host. And it was one of them real like last minute things, and then I literally got the flyer up and put it into like photo editing software and like cut names out to put our names on, and it was just absolutely just crazy. But yeah, so we turned up to that club, and there was quite a few people, and it wasn't the busiest environment, but it wasn't the quietest either. And for Fusion only being like not a massive nightclub, it was a good vibe. It was a good vibe in there. And anyway, to cut the story short, we went and played this set, and it just went off. Everything was just the track selection, the mixing, everything was just absolutely fantastic. The Lehman was just exactly what he needed to be on the mic, and the crowd just loved it. Everybody was just blown away. The other DJs were like, whoa, this, absolutely banging, absolutely belting. Everybody was just absolutely loving it. And for that has to be, for me, again, one of my favourite sets of the year. So far, we've got two. So on the list, we've got two. So we've got Scotland, and we've got Math's birthday, mathematics with Ultra Beat. So that is two up to now so far. Now we move a little bit on. I'm not going to name every single gig I've done, but the next one that obviously stands out to me is Rave Kids. So I did Rave Kids in Hull. So Rave Kids came to Hull, and that was an absolutely amazing set. So I only played for half an hour because you only really do at Rave Kids. That's kind of like how it goes down, and that's kind of what happens there. But it was like just, we made that half an hour count, and the vibe of that half an hour was absolutely fantastic. And we played to a full club. We played to around 400 people. Families with kids, and it was crazy. It was a proper rave experience. No offences to the previous Rave Kids we'd done, but it did kind of put that one to shame, which it wasn't the official Rave Kids, but like just the vibe and the crowd was like just so much better, and stuff like that. And it was really fun. It was, it was really, really enjoyable. So we move on to that one. Absolutely belting set. Really absolutely loved it. So that is up there for me as well as one of my most favourite sets that I played of the year. So we did the Rave Kids. That was all fine and groovy. That was all fine and dandy. We move on a little bit into like May, and I did Bounce to Infinity, which was it was an enjoyable set. I played a 2 hour set. I just played a 2 hour set really. I was in the second room. It didn't really get that busy, so I can't really say I had like the most enjoyable time. But I was appreciated to have been invited back. But the whole event I think it just could have been a lot better. For starters, it started a lot earlier, which I think just wasn't the best idea. And there was two rooms, and I just think personally it wasn't busy enough for two rooms. Like, one room was busy, the other room was just going to have nobody in it essentially. So that was kind of that. And then I'd gone back to Fusion that same day as well. I'd been invited there. I played Fusion a few times this year, believe it or not. So that was all good in that sense. And also there was Chain Reaction. So we had Chain Reaction the day before. Played a bounce set that kind of went into a hardcore set. That was a really really fun set, by the way. It was one of the funnest sets I've had, like where you just kind of just do like some things out of the ordinary, if that makes sense. Like it was really fun in that point, and I enjoyed it. But it most certainly wasn't the best set that I played in a nightclub. You know, I definitely played some far better ones and had some far better experiences. But you know, and just because I say that, and you know what I've said about other sets as well, it doesn't mean that I didn't like them sets, or it's not been me being ungrateful about them sets. I was obviously very grateful for them, and I still cherish them. Like there were still moments and memories, and you know I big up every promoter that books me. But yeah, so at the moment we've got Scotland, we've got the mathematics, and we've got the rave kids. They're the ones that are kind of standing out to me at the moment. They're the ones that are kind of like, yeah, they were kind of like the best gigs for me. So that's obviously like the cool thing to obviously make a note of. So I'm trying to think because obviously now we've gone to sort of like May, so we're in like May time. So I'm trying to just have a little bit of a think as to what sort of came up around June. And do you know what? I'm just gonna have a quick look on Facebook and just look back over some old flyers, just to kind of because once I see the flyer, I'll remember sort of where we were and kind of what we've done. Oh yeah, so May we also went up to Sunderland, and we did an event in Sunderland which was absolutely amazing. So Sunderland, it was really good to go up there. The nightclub itself, it didn't really get that busy. I'll be completely honest. It kind of was really quiet in that sense. It didn't really do too well in terms of numbers. There was one point where it did ever so slightly get a little bit busy, but it wasn't a thing for me really. We also went. When was this? I'm just trying to think. It doesn't actually say a date on it, but it was sort of like April. Yeah, so late April, early May again. I went to where was it again? Bolton, I believe it was. It was Bolton or something like that. And we went to Bounce Zone, and I ended up doing a little DJ set that was live streamed in this like big studio room, and that was an experience. I really enjoyed that, and I had a really really fun time there. So that was really good. That was absolutely fantastic. So I was really proper buzzed about that. Bounceology. Yeah, that Bounceology was the one in Sunderland. So after that, so it got to like early June, and we went to Manchester. So it was actually Manchester, and we did a hardcore addiction. I was emceeing. We had Mandy Edge headlining, singing live. I was very lucky that that it was me sort of on her set, and basically like I passed the mic to her on the songs that she was going to sing, and then she passed the mic back to me. It was a really really good experience. It was something. It was you know it was a really it's up there for me as a memory. Of course, I wasn't really playing a set there. I was more just emceeing. Although I did jump on the decks at the end of the night, like on the last set, and sort of play a set, which was, you know, that was obviously quite a cool thing. Wasn't the best set I'd played. It, you know, I'd just gone on kind of last minute, played a couple of tunes, and you know the rest is the rest. So next up we've got Spaced Out, and again I was emceeing there, so emceeing at Spaced Out. So not really a set. It was a good MC set but it wasn't, it by far wasn't the best thing that I've ever done. We went to Canvas Reunion. Now, this was probably by far one of the worst sets that I've ever played. We won't touch on it too much, but the promoter didn't show up at the event, and it just left it to the bar staff running it essentially. It opened later than it stated on the flyer it was going to open, so I ended up having to nearly wait around for 2 hours for the club to actually open, and then there was just literally nobody there, and half the people on the lineup didn't even turn up for a set. So we won't really say too much about that. We've got family rave, so we got invited to Brid for a family rave. I had a really, really enjoyable set, but it wasn't by far one of the best sets I played, but it was really fun. And we did like a bank holiday Sunday, the 26th of May. That was actually May, so we've actually gone back a bit. But anyway, so Ultimate Bounce. So this was the 24th of May as well. So that's going back to May as well. So we're sort of May, June at the moment. This Ultimate Bounce was a really, really good event actually. It was just a little free entry thing. It was on the Friday, and it was really good. The place was just heaving. It was just in a pub, and people would just happen to be out that night, and they were just enjoying the vibe. And I had a really good set. The layman ended up hosting me, and we just did a really, really, really enjoyable set. So it's up there for me. But it's not one of the best. It's up there as a really good set, but it's not one of the best. So we move on, and I'm trying to see what else there is. So like June, July, I'm trying to think like sort of what we did in July. So we did another Ultimate Bounce at the Light Nightclub. That was late June, and I played a good set, but the club just really wasn't busy. And I did a bit of mic work, and it was an enjoyable event, but the excitement leading up to the event was more exciting than the actual event itself, unfortunately. So yeah, a little bit gutted about that. And then we have Ash Noble, the 29th of June, all night long at the Book. This was again another really, really good set for me. I just played all night long. I played loads of great tunes. There was one point where the pub was just really busy. Everybody was singing. Loads of people had come out in force to see me, and it was just a really enjoyable vibe. And I absolutely loved it, and it was really good. So it's up there for me because I got to go back to my hometown. It was really enjoyable. So I enjoyed that. Most definitely. We move on, and we start moving into July. So July, I believe, was a little bit of a quiet month for me. We didn't have too much going on in July, really. July was a little bit of a quiet one, but we did have a Skate Fest, which we did a little live PA on a skate park, and it was like raising sort of like money, and it was in memory of somebody who used to be a big part of the skate park, who had unfortunately passed away. The event itself, it wasn't the best event that I've done. There was quite a few things that I just wasn't too keen on. I don't normally complain much about events really, but this one, I don't know. I think on the day I didn't really feel in the mood for it. And I just wanted everything to just go right, and it just didn't really go right, and then I just felt like like I've just wasted a Saturday really. I enjoyed the performance, and I was grateful for the opportunity, but we got put on a flyer with DJs when we was actually doing a live PA, and then we got plugged in to the decks instead of the PA system. When we got announced on, they said we're going to be doing a DJ set, and we wasn't. We was doing a live PA with hip hop and reggae songs, and I just felt like sorry, I just felt like we should have stood potentially like where the band and stuff stood. We should have had a proper sound check, and it was like the sound engineer couldn't be really asked to sound check us properly. And that was, in all fairness, that was really July, unfortunately. So we move on to August, and August we had the mighty Bounce Elements MCing. That was really good. I did a B2B with Marco on Lukey G's set in the second room, and Lukey G played a really, really good set. He played a banging set, and absolutely smashed it out of the park. It was really, really good to see. So I really enjoyed that. It's up there for me as one of my favourite MC sets, but we're doing the DJ ones, unfortunately. We had another Ultimate Bounce as well in July, outdoor thing. Played a set outdoors, and Lehman hosted it, and actually it was a really, really good set actually. Actually, was it July or was it? Let me have a look. It was August, I think. Actually, yeah. Sorry, it was August. We did an Ultimate Bounce in July at the same nightclub. It was a bit of a smaller thing. Played a good set. But the one in August, sorry. So we're in August. So this is up there as one of my favourite sets this year. We played outdoors. We had a really good vibe outdoors. I played one of them really good sets. Lehman was on form hosting me again. So currently up to now, we've got Scotland, we've got the Rave Kids, we've got Mathematics, we've got the Ultimate Bounce 16-hour outdoor rave. They're kind of like up there as they're my favourite sets of the year so far. So we're keeping a note of that, if that makes sense. We did another family rave. So Sunday the 18th of August, the following week, and that was another really, really enjoyable set actually. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a really good vibe, and I just think, everything just went as well as it could go, but it wasn't up there as one of my favourite sets, unfortunately. So we move into, I believe this is August as well. We did Battle of the Genres, and I went up to Spennymoor and played a bounce set. I really, really enjoyed the set, but I felt like the MCs were overkill. The MCs just went in, and they spat over every vocal, every drop. They spat over every inch of the track that they could spit on. They didn't let the track breathe. But there was a fairly decent crowd there. It was in a small pub. It was an enjoyable set. But the MCs just overkilled it for me. So it's definitely for me. It's not up there, unfortunately. So we move on. So we move, of course, and we move on. And we're obviously moving briefly on, aren't we? So we move into September. September has seen two gigs. One gig being Chain Reaction, the 18th birthday, so 18 years of Chain Reaction. Now, I played an unexpected set here, which was a covering for DJ Spinner, who turned up late, and we played essentially. I played in his place for a good 45 minutes alongside ELL on the mic, which was like, ELL's a massive MC. It was a real groundbreaking moment for me to do that, and I had a really, really enjoyable set, and everybody loved the set. He enjoyed the set. The set went off. The set has been recorded. It's on a USB stick. I'm awaiting to get the stick to listen to the set back, because I really want to listen back. But it was an absolutely fantastic moment. It was groundbreaking. It was really good. It is up there as one of my most favourite sets that I have played. Also, early September, I forgot to say, we went back up to Scotland And just the same thing happened as last time. You know, we got to the club for a good while, the club was empty, and then by the time I went on again, the club was just absolutely really busy. I had an absolutely amazing vibe. And one of my, I think this time it was better than the first time. And when I ended the set on a remix of Living on a Prayer, and the whole club just erupted and sang to it. And you can see a video, I believe, of that on my YouTube channel. If I have forgotten to upload that, then I will be putting that up, because it was a moment, it was groundbreaking. When I just dipped that volume and you heard the whole club sing, it was just fantastic. It was just mind blowing. Then we've got the Experience, and the Experience was an enjoyable set. I was B2B with New Vibe on a hardcore set, and essentially we opened up the outside courtyard. It was very quiet at that point. It was, it was the start of the event. It was, it was the beginning. There wasn't many people there. There was an issue with one of the CDJs. It was a fun set. I was very grateful for it, but it wasn't by far my favourite set that I've played this year. We went back to the book. So we went back to the book on the 5th of October, which was not this weekend, just gone, the weekend before. And it was an enjoyable night. It wasn't as busy as the first time I went to the book. We had Layman hosting me. It was still an enjoyable vibe, but it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best experience I've ever had. I enjoyed myself, but for me personally, it just wasn't the best thing that I've ever done. But I was still very grateful to do it, and I will be going back to the book again at some point. And then we move on to what is the final event, the final gig, before we kind of take a roundup. And this was Bring the Sauce at Bar Babylon, that took place just this weekend gone. And basically, this took place last weekend, and there was a whole vibe here, and a whole story behind what happened at this event itself, that is just absolutely mind blowing. So I won't go into it in too much detail, but essentially I went there with an idea of a set I was going to play. That completely went out of the window, and I ended up playing to a full club nearly, and just doing something absolutely just mind-blowing, crazy, to go off the decks, to be then sort of literally begged to go back on, that the next DJ had to come off and let me go back on, requested by the club owner, the bar staff, the security. It was mind-blowing. So that takes us to the end. That is, I've maybe missed a couple of gigs out, but all the ones I've mentioned, like were like good sets, and I've said that they were up there for me. They're the ones. So we have, so first up, we obviously have Scotland. We have Mathematics. We have the Rave Kids in Hull. We have the Rave Kids in Hull. We have the Chain Reaction, the 18th birthday. We have the Ultimate Bounce outdoors in the courtyard. And we also have the Bar Babylon. We have Scotland for the second time as well. So we have 7 gigs. 7 gigs. I didn't say them all exactly in order of when they happened, but 7 gigs. Which one do I rate? So these are the top 7 that I've done this year, and what is going to potentially be that number 1 spot? So coming in at number 7. All right, so number 7, I am going to give it to the Ultimate Bounce outdoor courtyard party. It wasn't the best set that I've ever done, wasn't the best vibe that I've ever done, but it was up there. It was up there, and that is why it's in the top 7. But it goes to number 7. Number 7 for me was up there for me. It was absolutely groundbreaking. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved every single moment of it, of course. Coming in at the number 6 spot, the number 6 spot, I have to give it to. It's a really tough one. It's a really tough one. So let me think. I'm gonna have to think about this. So we had Scotland. So Scotland, mathematics, rave kids, ultimate bounce courtyard party, chain reaction, Bar Babylon, Scotland again. So I think in the 6th position we're going to have to go with the mathematics. Mathematics. There was just something about the set. There was just, I got something right in the set. The energy was belting. The vibe was just absolutely wicked. The vibe was just, the vibe was just really, really lit for me. Coming in at the number 5 position. So coming in at number 5, I'm gonna have to give this one to number 5. Number 5. It's number 5. Again, it's a tough one, but I'm gonna give number 5 to the chain reaction, the 18th birthday. Now, it was a really good set, and I was really privileged to have ELL on the set, and I played a really, really banging set. It was really enjoyable. So that has to be, for me, that has to go into the number 5. So in number 7, we have Ultimate Bounce Outdoors. Number 6, it's Ultimate. Number 6, it's Mathematics Fusion. And then number 5 is the the chain reaction. So yeah, so that's where we're at so far. So ultimate bounce, mathematics, chain reaction. So coming in at number 4, we actually have the Rave Kids. So Rave Kids at Hull, it was an experience. I played a half an hour set, and the crowd was just absolutely belting for it, absolutely booting. So that has to go into the number 4 position. Number three, I have to give number 3 to Scotland, Crazy Chaos. When I went up there in March, I have to give it to the one in March. So we've got 2 spots left. We have Crazy Chaos in September. We have Bar Babylon. What is going to be number 1? Bar Babylon is taking the number 1 spot, which puts Crazy Chaos September into the number 2 position. So why did I pick Bar Babylon for the for the best set of the year? Why did I do that? Best set of all time, and it's quite simple, really. Wasn't about the mixing. Wasn't about how good the mixing was. It was nothing to do with that. It was nothing about the type of set I played. Well, it was about the type of set I played, but it's a hard one to explain. But the reason for me was the overall how the set went, in terms of how people enjoyed the set, in terms of how the night went. So that event I played twice. So I'm just kind of saying, like, my overall performance at that event, both sets, and the whole vibe of it. Especially the second time I went on, that was definitely better than the first. But the whole vibe of when I was on is why the set is so good. And that is, I guess, the same as why like the Crazy Chaoses are in second and third, because it wasn't again just about how good the mixing was, but it was just about the crowd and the energy. And the thing about DJing nowadays is it's not about how good you can DJ. It's not about if your beat matching is like exactly on point. If your beat matching is you know completely shocking that you can't beat match at all, then yes, you know you are probably gonna disappoint a few people. But at the end of the day, if you play a really good set in terms of like each track is just a good track and people know it and they can sing along to it, then you're on to a winner. And that is exactly what I did at the two Crazy Chaoses and at the Bar Babylons. So Bar Babylon, for me, because I just hit all the right tunes and everybody was singing, I dipped the volume and I could hear them sing. That for me is what put it up there, and that is why I put it in the number one position. And I know you're probably thinking like it was probably one of the most commercialist gigs you could ever do, and yes, it was. But I've realised how much I actually enjoy them, and when I'm behind the decks and I can see them singing along and they're enjoying what I'm playing, it makes it all the worth the while. I can go to any event. I can play like the hardest set known to man, the biggest beat drops. But when you've just got a full club and you can hear them singing that every word of that chorus, there is no better feeling. So there we have it. A long stream, just over 46 minutes long, but that is my gigs. So just a quick reminder, so in the number 7 position we had the Ultimate Bounce, the Courtyard Party 16-hour rave. Then in number 6 we had the Mathematics at Fusion, where Ultra Beat was headlining. Then in number 5, in the number 5 position, we had the Chain Reaction 18th birthday. ELL hosted me. In number 4 position, we had Rave Kids. In number 3, we had Chain Reaction in March. In number 2, Crazy Chaos in March. In number 2, Crazy Chaos in September. And in number 1, we have the Bar Babylon. Bring the sauce, the Bar Babylon. So there we go. There we have it. So make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share. We've got a couple of months of the year left yet. So, you know, the order could change, the list could change, and I may update this, like if I play an amazing set somewhere next month, or do something in December, or even do something later this month. I've got some gigs coming up that could may well make its way onto the list. It could knock something off of the list. I think, you know, I think in all fairness, like, we won't knock anything off the list. Like, we've got top 7, but it could change to top 8. I think what we'll do is we'll go as far as top 10. Like, if I have, like I could have made a top 10, like, but I just felt like these ones stood out to me the most, and I just wanted to pinpoint them. So if any more, like, really stand out, I'll add them to the list, essentially. So like, comment, share, peace.